Thank
Right.
you.
You can get started.
So I'm very thankful to Dr. Patia and AIC for giving me this. So today's my topic is macular disorders and glaucoma. These are two diverse conditions and may cause blindness. They mainly affect older people and can occur concurrently. So then it becomes challenging. So there was a study prevalence of retinal comorbidities in patients with glaucoma. The incidence was very high, 14.8%. And higher prevalence of certain retinal diseases was seen in 15.7. And obviously, increased risk of glaucoma is there when patients have some retinal diseases or patients with prior retinal procedures and surgeries. So there was one study that is CARIDS, which was published in ARVO 2021. So they found an association of manifest glaucoma and macular pigment optical density. The study was conducted for almost 15 years, and hence they found that inverse association is associated with macular pigment and glaucoma. So low MP levels can be a modifiable risk factor for POG, which we don't have till now. So coming to AMD and glaucoma, they are two separate disorders affecting different parts of the eye. And if they are concurrent, definitely there would be loss of central vision as well as peripheral vision. And quality of life is worse if they are affected by both the diseases than a single disease. So coming to some real world scenarios. So this is a patient where you can see that patient has a dry AMD along with so dry AMD. The thing is that the patient has RP irregularities also and glaucoma also, which is more noticeable in the left eye. And this is the perimetry. This is so thing is that it is very difficult to monitor these patients because they have central opacities also. So performing perimetry is not good. And if you see here, they have central opacities, which is reflected in the because of the central scarring of the previous PED. So another patient, very advanced glaucoma along with wet AMD. Now this patient had a PED and which developed into wet ARMD, where you can see the formation of neovascular complex along with subretinal fluid. Left has RP bumps. So managing this patient again is very difficult because the glaucoma is progressing also, and because of the central defect, we cannot really say that whether the right eye is progressing or not. There is a paper on wet AMD and glaucoma. If there is a massive vitreous subretinal or suprachoroidal hemorrhage, then there is rapid expansion of the subretinal or suprachoroidal space, increase in the posterior segment volume. There is anterior displacement and rotation of the lens iris diaphragm, and the anterior chamber becomes shallow. There is no shallow chamber in the fellow eye. And these patients also can have ghost cell glaucoma. This is a patient of advanced POAG with central areolar choroidal dystrophy. And you can see here that the patient has left eye perimetry was not possible because of both the problems together, but right eye we could manage to do perimetry and it is showing stability, but still it is not very sure. And we need to manage these patients only on IOP and on visually how the optic disc is behaving, like Dr. Sagarika said. So this is again a patient of myopic macular degeneration with POG. Same here story, because patient has both glaucoma as well as central defect in the visual. Now, a doctor with pseudoexfoliation glaucoma with JFT, and you can see that centrally, you can see there is RP irregularity with cystic species, which is reflected in this scan, RNFS and RGC combined scan. And here, patient has a central defect, which in the left eye can be seen only on 10-2. So very early tinges can be seen in these patients if you do 10-2 also. A patient with toxoplasma, the right eye has a very big scar as compared to left, and patient has also glaucoma, mainly maybe because of steroid induced. We don't know because patient doesn't give any history. And here you can see how the visual field is reflecting because of the scar of the toxoplasma. I just included this phase because sometimes retinal toxoplasma, which can be parafoveal, can give rise to defects similar to glaucoma, and it is difficult to really know whether the patient has glaucoma or not. Patient had high pressures because of the steroids. A patient of existing POAG which had blunt trauma. There is development of macular scar. The NRR looks very, very thin in this patient. And this is the RNFL scan, which is showing inferior temporal RNFL defect along with a central macular defect in the visual field. A patient of open angle glaucoma, you can see the wedge-shaped RNFL defects in the right eye very well, bipolar, and left eye shows almost diffuse loss. Left eye has advanced glaucoma. So this patient, if we did perimetry, you can see that patient has advanced field defects, and it is not possible to say whether this is again definitely in the right eye for because of glaucoma or a central problem. A patient with BRVO, there can be multiple presentation. This patient had right eye BRVO along with glaucoma, pre-existing primary angle closure glaucoma. You can see that there is a positional angle closure. So this patient needs PI before going because he will need dilatation, mydriatics whenever he undergoes retinal examination. So, but if you see the perimetry defect is inferiorly, which is reflecting his glaucoma in the NRI. So another patient of BRVO, a typical defect like a glaucoma defect, but patient had undergone laser treatment. You can see some laser scars over here. So again, a diagnostic challenges whether this is progressing or not. And on GP, you can see probably is not progressing, it's still stable. So another patient of BRVO, and patient had choroidal sclerosis, as you see here, extensive choroidal sclerosis, and he had undergone laser also for superior temporal BRVO, and you can see the fields. It is not possible to say and to follow up this patient on fields alone. The next patient, again, advanced glaucoma. Patient had a very small central tunnel vision in the right eye, but he dropped in the central vision. So we did a macula scan, and you can see the development of a cirrhosis. So sometimes some other causes can be there. Another patient, a patient of glaucoma diagnosed as normal tension glaucoma, came for second opinion, and patient actually had a macular hole which was there in the 10-2 field. So patient had tilted disc with thinning of NRR inferiorly. So again, this is a challenging case. Another patient of open angle glaucoma, patient had parafoveal ERM. She went somewhere else. She was an American citizen, so she went there and had her surgery done. So she already had existing glaucoma in the both eyes. And after that, you can see pre-op her scan and post-op scan. There is a paracentral defect which has remained. Next patient, this patient was referred for high IOP, and there was a history of a systemic steroid for vasculitis, and you can see how the developed has defect because of the vasculitis. And it is difficult to say whether this patient is progressing on serial photographs or serial OCT and visual fields. I just added one more case, a patient of tuberculoma. Central foveal, subfoveal tuberculoma is there, and you can see how the retina is behaving and how the fields are there. There is a loss of central vision in the right eye. There is association between retinal detachment and open angle glaucoma. Pre-existing glaucoma is seen in almost 7.3% of patients, and RD in one eye and POAG in other eye is seen in almost 9.5% of patients in this particular study. And they have concluded that even PDS, that is pigmentary dispersion syndrome, has an increased prevalence of lattice and retinal detachments also. So coming to retinitis pigmentosa, again a very challenging situation because the field would be constricted. It is difficult to see whether the optic nerve is progressing or not on serial photographs also. And the only clue in cinepigmento patients would be disproportionate peripheral field loss, loss and minimal ONH changes. The only diagnostic clue would be doing ERG. There are other retinal diseases along with glaucoma, like Stickler's vitreoretinopathy, which is autosomal dominant disorder. Glaucoma or enlarged ONH cupping can be seen with peripapillary and macular retinoschisis, serous retinal detachments, optic nerve pits, and colobomas also. So the message is both can coexist together, and if together, the management of both is very challenging. It is difficult to say whether the patients are progressing or stable on visual field GPA or OCT trend analysis. Both diseases may progress over time, and the most important is patients counseling is very crucial. You have to tell them that okay, or suddenly developed a central loss, you have to assure them and do give some low vision aids for these patients. Thank you for kind attention.